Okay, so this week I've been kind of, even yesterday, what do I talk about? And it's this thing that has kind of been, I've been having this thing about perseverance going on, perseverance, kind of not quitting, going on in my mind and my heart and all of that. So kind of, I guess it came from, in recent weeks, I've been feeling a little bit kind of overwhelmed, with work and this and that and the other thing. And so when that kind of happens, when you reach that point, you tend to look for ways out, for for safety nets, as it were. Is there another way? What do I do and whatever. So, but also recently the Olympic Games in Tokyo were going on. So I started kind of watching a little bit of wrestling again, and because I'm a big fan of wrestling, and I've done a little bit of it when I was younger in Moldova. And when I'm watching it, I start to remember the times when I had to, in training or in actual life, when I was so tired, you just want to kind of quit, you don't care anymore. There was this word, exhaustion. I don't want to define it, but it's just a funny word. But just sort of, but as that moment is like, pushing on, and during the training and all of that, you just want to quit. You just want to. It's like, that's it. I'm at the end. But wrestling, I think, has taught me in life about perseverance. So, because what happens in training and actual matches, you reach that point, and so you end up reaching that point a few times a week, where it's like, that's it, I can't, I'm at my limit, as it were. So, and then persevering, kind of pushing through that, going a little bit more, just another step, another run, another whatever. And so it's those times when you just close your eyes and keep pushing, rather than let it, because you can't take it in anymore. So you just close your eyes and keep on going, keep on pushing. So perseverance is a virtue. It's a good virtue to have, to persevere, to push, to break through that moment, that barrier, that point. And I heard somebody say that everybody reaches that moment in life. Everybody gets to that point. They reach that point where they want to quit, and it's what you do in that moment that defines where you end up. What do you do in that moment when you want to quit, feel like quitting? It's the decision that you make in that moment in time that defines where you end up. So everybody gets to that stage, but we know that not everybody gets past that stage. So and that kind of determines a little bit people's progress. So as I had this in my mind, a couple of things during the week just kind of popped up and highlighted that perhaps I need to talk about it. And there was something funny I heard on the UCB radio. It was this week I think, last week, which made me laugh. And again, it's to do with what is going on in my heart and in my mind, about kind of pushing through, persevering. And this preacher, whatever, on UCB was quoting Charles Spurgeon, and he said that the snail, by perseverance, reached the ark. Go to the Ark of Noah. The snail, by perseverance, got there in the end. So I don't know if there were snails on the ark. Perhaps they can survive a flood without the ark. But so, you know, it is funny, but it kind of illustrates that point that by perseverance, by pushing, by going for it, we would get there. So looking around today, as the culture and wherever, especially in this country, we see this issue where perseverance is becoming more and more rare. You have workers who, if they don't like it, they'll just quit. You know, if they don't have it their way, I'm walking out. You know, I'm quitting. The same thing happens in church. You know, if the pastors have to be so careful and so, you know, to make sure that people don't get upset and whatever. Otherwise, they just walk. They just quit. You know, that's it. I've had enough. I'm not doing this anymore. And it happens in marriage as well a lot. Even amongst Christians, the statistics are not much better amongst Christians than non-believers or whatever. People just reach a bump in the road, a difficult time, that's it, I quit, I'm out, you know, I'm gone. There's no perseverance. Perseverance is becoming a rare thing. And so that's why I've kind of feel that God is accentuating this. Perseverance, pushing, not quitting, sticking in there. Quitting is becoming more and more common. And we can see that. And not only it's becoming more common, but it's becoming, it's getting to the point where it's celebrated even. You know, it's like, oh, you know, I quit, you know, I just quit, you know. I said, oh, okay, good on you, you know, you don't have to put up with that, you know, I just quit, oh, you know, nice one, you know, whatever. It's celebrated. So, rather than, you know, kind of loyalty and commitment and sticking in there and perseverance, that should be more celebrated. And we see people kind of giving up on things. I heard somebody quote, and they were kind of quoting Elon Musk, I don't know if he said that or not, but he said some people panic when they see the battery going out on their phone, but they don't panic when they see the light going out on their dream. They're kind of, you know, okay with that, but they're more worried about the battery going out on their phone. So I strongly feel that God wants to encourage us to persevere, to push, because what He has in store for us, it will require perseverance. It will require pushing. I believe God wants us to become people who will persevere, who will push through these difficult times. Because you have some people say, and I heard that said, well, I tried it, but it just isn't working, you know. I guess, you know, it's not working, so I'm just going to quit. I tried, you know, I just tried, and I guess, you know, it's not to be. Well, the question is, why did you try it in the first place? So you tried, and you know you don't like how it's going, so you're just quit. But why did you try it in the first place? That question, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I trying this? Why am I? So there's a couple of answers. Was it God that asked you to do it? Are you trying something because you believe God has asked you to do it? Or is it because it's your dream? Is it because it's in your heart? You have this picture, it's your dream, you want to get there? Or was it because you had to do it? So sometimes, you know, with things like family and work, whatever, there are things that you have to do it. So, and there are many other answers, but why did you try it in the first place? So you've tried it, it didn't work, I'm not sure, you know, I'm going to quit, I'm going to, you know, walk away from it. Why did you try? Why did you go for it? Because if it was God, why are you quitting? If it is your dream, then why are you quitting? You know, well, so this question or answer, whatever. Why? Why? People walk out, they quit, they stop, they don't want to persevere. But why were you doing that in the first place? When we come to this point in our lives, we need to ask ourselves, why am I doing it anyway? Because if it's our dream, if God asked us, if it's something we have to do, then quitting really shouldn't be an option. It should not be an option. And I hear people sometimes say, well, God told me to do this, and you know, that and the other and whatever, you know. And then when it gets hard, well, I guess it wasn't God. I guess I missed God. I guess I was wrong, you know. Before that, they're so adamant, so convinced, you know, oh man, God has told me to do this, you know, this is, you know, I'm going, and then, oh, I guess it wasn't God. So, you know, why are you doing this? Why are you attempting it? So they quit. Their interpretation, and this is the problem that I have, their interpretation of whether it was God or not, it's based on how hard it is. You see? Because to them, if it was God, then it must be easy. And if it's hard, then it's not God. And that's it. So before they try it, oh, it was God. It was definitely God. God has asked me to do this. You know, that's it. I'm going, you know. And then, because it's hard, it couldn't have been God. And so they miss it. They miss the whole thing. To them, it is easier. The easier it is, the more likely it is that it was God who asked them. It's just the wrong way around. The easier it is, the more likely it is that God asked them to do it. In reality, very often, it's the opposite. It's not a rule, but in reality, very often, it's the opposite. The harder it seems, the more likely it is that God asked you to do it. Because, yes, God can ask us to do easy things, but sometimes He calls us, or most often calls us, beyond ourselves. The vision is always bigger than ourselves that God gives us. So, but people interpret whether it was God or not based on how difficult or easy it was. So they quit. It wasn't. It's kind of. It's a cop out. It's a way of just putting it back on God. It wasn't God. It's not my fault. Whatever. The question still remains: how can you quit if God asked you to do it in the first place? So if you're so convinced that, oh, it was God, how can you come to that point and say, I'm actually quitting? How can you quit when it's your dream? When it's your dream, what else is there? What options are left? If it's your dream, how can you quit? And then what people end up saying is, well, at least I tried. Well, at least I tried, you know, something. At least I tried. Well, what do you mean at least you tried? Were you hoping it was going to be easy? You know, this is my dream. I'll try it just in case it's easy. You know, and then if it isn't, then I'm just going to have to give up, you know, quit. Why did you try in the first place? Because if you tried, then you couldn't have been sure or convinced that it was God. Because if it's God, if you're convinced that it's God, then you're not trying, you're actually going for it. You are going to get it done. You're going for it 100%. You're not trying. You don't try to do things that God has asked you. So it's very important to know that what we are doing is what God would have us do. That's kind of like the main point. And then persevere. And then don't quit. Then don't stop, as it were. Why are you doing this? And then, you know, kind of decide that. And there are a couple of verses here, especially from from Revelation that I like, and Revelation 2:3, and this is where Lord Jesus is kind of writing to churches, and that is you and me, you know, us. And Revelation 2:3, and you have persevered. You see, that is to God. This is so important for us to persevere. And you have persevered and have patience and have labored for my name's sake and have not become weary. Why do people quit? Why do people say, that's it, you know, I've had it? They become weary. You have not become, these guys have not become weary. This is, you know, people just, I've just had enough, you know, I'm quitting or whatever. This is wearing me out. This can't be God. This can't be God, you know, that's it. No, Jesus is actually commending these people, saying, and you have persevered, you have not become weary. And Revelation 3:10, because you have kept my command, okay, what command? To persevere. It's almost like, you know, don't do this, don't do that. It's don't quit. You know, this is a command that we have from God. You have kept my command to persevere. And because you have done that, because you didn't quit, I also will keep you from the hour of trial. So it's like, because you have endured this difficulty, because you have went through this hardship, I'll keep you from the other hardship. You see, people that try to escape, quit, have it easy, will head into the hour of trial. People that persevere through the current trials, I'll keep you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon the whole world to test those who dwell on the earth. You see, you can't escape testing. If you try to escape this testing, you'll be tested later on. You can't escape it. We have to go through this. We have to persevere. We have to push. We must not quit. But we have to be sure that, is this God? Is this my dream? Is this what He's put in my heart? And then you just go for it 100%. My command to persevere. So we need to persevere towards what God has for us. It applies to us, this command. So 1 Corinthians 24. Do you not know that those who run in a race all run? They're all in there, but one receives the prize. One. Run in such a way that you may obtain it. People say, well, it's taking part that matters. Well, you know, it's more important. It's taking part, you know. Well, not entirely. You see, all run, but only one receives the prize. And then Paul says, run in such a way. Not that you can say, well, I've taken part, but that you may receive the prize. Run in such a way. Whatever God has asked you to do it in such a way that you may receive the prize. How am I doing what God has asked me to do? And when you run a race, there's plenty of opportunity to persevere. You see, it's good to take part, but winning is much better. It's good to take part, but win. Personally, I hate losing. I'm very competitive, and when I play with Natasha, she almost always wins. You know, and if she beats me once or twice, then that's it. I don't wanna play that game anymore. I've had enough. You know, we're not doing that, because for me, taking part doesn't mean much. You know, it's like, yeah, let's play again. You know, it's fun. No, it's not fun. You know, for me, taking part, you know, it's like, no. If I'm playing to win. Otherwise, I'm not playing it at all. That's it. You know, so I want to win, or I stop doing it. So. And so what I end up doing is then either change the rules, or change the game, or change something, because I'm not going to sit there and just take part. You know, people, well, it's taking part that matters. You see, you do not need to persevere much if you're only in there to take part. If you're only in there to take part, if you're only in there to make up the numbers, or to have fun, or whatever, you do not need to persevere, you see. And if you do not need to persevere, then quitting is always an option. And we spoke a few weeks back about developing a winning mindset, that winner mindset. We will need to persevere to win. To win, you have to persevere. The verse says, run in such a way that you may win. So how are we running then? You know, running wherever, you know. It applies to, you know, working or doing this or ministry or family or, you know, whatever. How are we running? How are we running? It's a question for us individually to sit before God and say, God, how am I running? You know, school or whatever, you know. How am I running? How am I doing this? Am I persevering? Are we running in such a way as if to win? Or are we just taking part? That is the question. Perseverance. Those who are just taking part, they do not have a clear picture of when the race is finished. You see, if you're just taking part, what picture have you got in your mind? What is the picture of when it's finished? What is the picture? How do you know it's done, it's finished? Those who run as if to win, the picture in their mind is the prize. That is the picture. But when you're not running as if to win, then when do you stop? What is the picture of the race is finished? Like Paul said in the Bible, I have run my course. Yeah. I have fought the good, you know, it's time for me. I've run my course. I've done it. I got that. So he had a picture of when it's finished. But if you're just taking part, how do you know when you're done? How do you know, for somebody who is doing it to win, the picture is clear, the prize, the crown of life, you know, the crown of glory, the crown of whatever, you know, that is the prize. So those who are in it just to take part, they always wonder if they have taken enough part. You know, is that enough? You know, is that okay? Have I done my bit? You know, whatever. Or whether they should take more part or less part and so on. But if you are going to win, then the picture is very clear. So have we got a clear picture of what success looks like for us, for what God has asked us to do? What is the picture of, you know, success? And for the winners, the picture is always them with the prize in their hand. That's the picture. Me with the prize in my hand. That is the finishing line. It's a race. So it is a race. It's like a wrestling match. It's a push. It's bigger than us. It will often be bigger than us. And it will very often be further than what we can go. Further. It will be harder than what we thought it would be. It would be higher than we hoped for. It will always seem above and beyond. And that's what God is calling us to. And we will need to persevere. We cannot give up. How come others have done it? The question is always in my hand. How come others have done it? How come they have done it? How come they got there? how can people have achieved it? We will need to persevere. We can't give up. In the newspapers, I got a little bit in the newspapers recently when England lost to Italy in the football Euro finals. In some papers there was this whole uproar. You know, people got up in arms where England, when they were given the silver medal, they would straight away take it off their neck and just kind of, you know, in their hand or whatever. And there's, oh, that's disrespectful, you know, they take it, how dare they, whatever. These people don't understand. They think that they are the taking part people. But the players on the pitch, they were the, I'm in it to win it. If I don't win it, then I've lost. For them, the picture of the finishing line is the golden medal around their neck and nothing else. Everything else is a loss, you see. So that's why they were taking it off. To them, they didn't get the prize. This is like a, here, you know, feel good about yourself. You know, nothing kind of helps. They've lost, you see. But people who are in it just to take part, they get all upset about it. So in closing, we need to run as if to win. We need to ask ourselves this question: am I doing this? Am I running? Am I going for this as if to win? That is the question. It will take perseverance. We cannot be quitters. It's not an option. Perseverance is the biggest distinguishing factor between winners and quitters. Perseverance is that factor that determines or distinguishes between these two people. People say, you know, it's about being smart, being clever, being rich, you know, having all the resources and so on if you want to win. That is what makes kind of, in their heads, this is what makes a winner, you know, it's when you have all these kind of things. But in real life, we have many examples where people who didn't have all these things and they became winners. So we cannot blame it on, well, I wasn't born there, well, I haven't got this, my parents, you know, the government or whatever. Perseverance with a God idea, not in whatever else we want to do, but if we persevere with what God has asked us, then we will win. So, you know, I have this kind of strong in my spirit. That's why I'm kind of talking about it today, about persevering, about pushing, about going for it. You know, what is your dream? What has God asked you to do? Go for it, not quitting. So, you know, let's go for it. Let's make sure we are on the right path and then persevere and don't quit. So that's my encouragement, and that's what kind of God is doing in my heart at the moment. So I thought I'd pass that on.